through our agenda. I really want to appreciate our parish president, Mike Cooper, for coming in and gracing us with his presence, taking the time out of his busy schedule to address some of our questions and concerns. That's what real leadership do. Yes. And that's who we want to represent us in our communities. Leadership that would come and hear our concerns, our issues. And that's why he took the time out of his busy schedule, him and his lovely wife, to be here with us today. Thank you so much.
Thank you again. Thank you. Thank you.
All right. We have from our very own district attorney, none other than Warren Montgomery, special invitation. This young man is going to introduce himself, tell us who he is, and also tell us a little bit about our district attorney situation and the reason why he had to come in place of Warren today. Warren had actually committed, reached out to me, and he was planning on being here with us. So I'm very saddened that he's not here, but he also took the time out to make sure that he had a representative from his office to come and be here with us today, and we really appreciate that. So I don't know this gentleman, but he's going to introduce himself to us. You go right ahead.
Thank you. My name is Cary Menard, and it's a pleasure and a privilege to be here today on behalf of Mr. Montgomery. Mr. Montgomery had a medical situation, so he was unable to be here, but I was glad that I was able to fill in, and I hope I do a good job of that. What I'd like to do today is talk a little bit about what the district attorney's office is, some of the things that we do, and some of the services that we're able to provide to our citizens, not only in St. Tammany Parish, but we're a two-parish district attorney's office. We're also in Washington Parish. My job is being the chief of the civil division. There's a criminal division in the district attorney's office, and then there's a civil division. The civil division handles things that are non-criminal, and we do a lot to advise the parish government, both here and in Washington Parish. We're advisors to President Cooper, so he and I have the pleasure of working with each other every day, and it's a wonderful thing. Most people think of the district attorney's office, they think of the criminal division, because that's what DAs do. They prosecute criminals. That's one of the primary duties of the district attorney's office. But I want to say this about Mr. Montgomery. One of the paramount concerns, and one of the things that he knows is so important to him and to our office, is children and families. Absolutely. In his role as district attorney, Mr. Montgomery is charged with the responsibility of taking care of children who may be abused, taking care of families who have domestic violence. We have a domestic violence unit with two dedicated prosecutors, and their job is to prosecute those people who are charged with and who we believe are guilty of domestic violence. We have in our office what we call our screening division. It's very important to have a screening division. What they do is they look at each and every case that's presented to us by law enforcement to make sure that before anyone gets charged, that there's a basis to charge those people. In some of the district attorney's offices and some of the ones in the past, they did not have an adequate screening department. So a lot of people were charged at the beginning, had to go through the process only to be null prost or to have the case dismissed later on. We don't do it that way. We make sure that if there are charges that have to be brought against someone, that there's a basis for it, and that's what our screening division does. Another very important division in the district attorney's office is the child support enforcement. A big problem for us, not only here in St. Tammany Parish, but in other parts of the state as well. There are people who owe child support, people who owe a lot of child support to take care of their kids, but they're not taking care of their children as they should. One of the duties of the district attorney's office is to find those people who are not paying child support, bring them to court and find out why, and then the judge will intervene and do whatever is appropriate to make sure that those kids are taken care of. In addition to our child support enforcement, we have what's called our Victims' Rights Unit. We take care of our victims through the Victim Assistance Program. These are people who obviously are victims of crime. They are brought to the DA's office. They have to be part of the criminal justice process in order to get things done, and in order to get the prosecutions through the system. We need the help of the victims, and very many times it's very, very stressful for them, very stressful. So we have a devoted staff who are very attentive to the victims to make sure that, first of all, their rights are considered and that they are taken care of through this process. We have counseling for them as they go through the process to help them in this difficult time when they have to be a witness in a criminal case. We also have what we call our pretrial diversion program. This is for someone who has had a charge brought against them, but not for a serious charge. These are generally misdemeanor charges, and in some cases minor felony charges like drug offenses. But the pretrial diversion program is where an individual has an opportunity to avoid being convicted of a crime. He or she is charged with a crime, but before it gets to court, we intervene in the situation, put the person on what is a probation. They have to do certain things, that is report, and sometimes they have to go to drug treatment, sometimes they have to go to anger management and complete those courses. If they successfully do all of the probationary things that are done in the pretrial diversion program, then the charges are dismissed. They're never brought against them. And it's been a very successful program. I had an opportunity to be involved with the pretrial diversion program for a couple of years, and I've seen so many people whose lives were not wrecked by a criminal conviction because they were successful in the pretrial diversion program. We also work closely with the specialty courts, the judges who have veterans courts. There's something about veterans mentioned. This is a special court for veterans who are charged with crimes. They're handled differently from the routine citizens and given special consideration as they go through the veterans court. They are counseled along the way, and if everything ultimately turns out well, they also are able to avoid having this stigma of criminal conviction on their record. That's up to the judge ultimately. Not everybody gets that, but it's totally up to the judge. We also have sobriety court for those who have alcohol problems. The judges, again, intervene prior to the conviction and try to work with these people, put them on probation. If they successfully complete the probation, then the program has worked exactly what it's supposed to do. And the third thing is our drug court. We all know that drugs are a big problem in St. Tammany Parish and all over. The drug court is similar to the sobriety court, but deals specifically with those who have drug and addiction problems. My time is almost up. In closing, I want to say that, as Belinda Parker Brown knows, Mr. Montgomery is a champion for justice. He believes in justice, but he also tempers it with compassion and with mercy when that's necessary. He's that kind of a man, and that's the kind of man I'm happy to be working for, and I'm very proud that he's the district attorney here in St. Tammany Parish. Mr. Montgomery has an open door policy, and he truly means that, which means if you call him, he's going to respond. He returns phone calls, and he's happy to meet with people with any kind of concerns that you have. So if there's some questions that you have or any concerns, feel free to contact the district attorney's office, and someone will absolutely get back with you. I want to thank you for this opportunity, for being here today, and I wish you well this afternoon in your floor.
I have a question for you.
Sure.
Do you have any ambitions to run for office?
No, ma'am, I don't, but thank you for asking.
Okay, you've done such a beautiful job. Do anyone have any questions for, can you say your name again?
Cary Menard.
Can-
Cary Menard.
Do anyone have any questions for Mr. Cary Menard? Okay. All right, Ms. Faye, go ahead. I mean, whoever here is first.
Yes, ma'am.
If someone has been charged with a felony, they serve their time and they out, can't find work with all probation, why don't these probation officers find work for these guys to do? Because if they don't have money to pay the probation off, they back locked up again, or the family is paying their probation. So what goes on with that? How do you fix that?
It's very difficult. I know I have family members who have felonies on their records because they made mistakes along the way, whether it involved drugs or what have you. And there is a process. I know it involves an attorney, But there's a process in most cases, depending upon what the felony is, depending upon what it is, an opportunity for an expungement. You know, we've had the Fresh Start program in the past. That's something, the Fresh Start program was a program where people were able to come in and have their record expunged so that that doesn't follow them and they're able to find jobs and get jobs. And that's something I know that the district attorney will think about looking at in the future.
So do you go to the DA's office to have this done in Fresh Start, or where do you go to do this?
That would have to be done through an attorney in the courts, ma'am.
Ms. Bay, I can help you with that question. Actually, we did it as a community event, and we worked alongside with the district attorney's office and the whole entire community, and we were able to get over 100 people records expunged for less than $100, or right around $100.
That was amazing.
So that was amazing, yes.
I got one more.
Yes, ma'am.
Man pays child support for a child, and then 5 years later find out the child is not his. Is he reimbursed his money?
I don't know. I'm sorry, I don't know the answer to that.
Figure that one out.
That's a tough one to figure out. Yes, ma'am, in the back.
Come up closer, baby.
Yeah, come even closer, even closer. We won't bite, we promise.
Somebody's convicted for, okay, a family member was convicted, but they denied the evidence. They didn't use the evidence. The evidence proved he was an innocent man. They denied using the evidence. They ended up using an emotional trial. That's what they had. They denied him all the evidence. They denied all his rights, all the evidence rights, and they went and the DA asked them, let's not use the evidence, let's go by an emotional trial. Is that legal?
Well, do they have a jury trial?
Yes.
Yeah, it's up to those jurors to decide the guilt or innocence based upon whatever is presented in the courtroom.
But they...
Sometimes it's all evidence, and sometimes it's persuasion. And was he represented by an attorney?
Yeah, he was
In the
represented,
courtroom,
but
yeah.
the attorney is denying that he represented him at the time.
Denying that he represented him
Yeah,
at the time.
like,
Yeah.
I don't know, it's all messed up, like, but I just wanted to know if it was legal for them to deny his evidence that proved he was innocent. And
Well, that's the job of the defense attorney. If he has evidence proving that he was innocent, then the defense attorney has to do that in the courtroom. And I wasn't there. I don't know about the details of it. And then if he's ultimately convicted, he has a right to an appeal to a higher court.
they denied him all his rights.
Did he try to take his appeal to a higher court?
The appellate court
Yes.
granted him another trial, but when they granted him another trial, the district attorney redocketed some of his background arrests.
What parish are you from?
Livingston.
So it wasn't in our parish. It wasn't our district attorney?
I just wanted to know if it was
Yeah.
legal for them to deny him an evidence trial and go by emotion. You shouldn't have a trial and go by your emotions.
Yeah, that's all I know about it. I'm sorry I couldn't give you any more
All right,
information.
thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
I have a question, but it's not dealing with your parish. It's probably the same court she's talking about, the 21st District. We had issues where a child was being touched inappropriately, and we had information from Audrey Hepburn, several, and I was told that in that parish, if the sheriff feels that, or he knew the guy, he said he wasn't going to do the charges, even though we went to file it. And when I called the DA about it, they told me they don't do nothing unless the charge is filed from the sheriff's office, even though we had the evidence. What you supposed to do at that point?
Under those circumstances, it's up to the district attorney. The district attorney under state law has the authority to bring charges.
Well, he told me that and I mean, I'm talking, the DA office, he said, I don't do that. He said, well, I even brought them the document and the recording, and he said, we don't do that. We don't want your evidence. Well, if the sheriff is not going to file the charges, we're not going to do it.
You know, and with that authority to bring any charges that he wishes, he also has the authority to deny that and to make that decision whether or not he's going to prosecute or not prosecute. Yes, sir.
When the person, from the time that a person is arrested and charges are brought, and the prosecutor looks at the evidence, the time period from the start till a certain period that it ends, that period, that window that person is in, how long does it take for the charges to be brought and then go to trial?
That's an issue we always try to make as short as possible, because having somebody in jail with a charge that they may not be convicted on, right? It varies on the charge and it varies on the dockets. Yeah.
Let's say a person is charged on, but yet the period of time to bring the charges goes past 120 days, 360 days.
And he's
sitting in jail over a year, 2 years, and nothing's been brought before the court. Right.
Yeah, if he's been in there that long, he has a right to have his speedy trial. Under the statute, there are speedy trial laws.
Okay, but you know what I'm saying? With that such a delay. Okay, say he still asks for a speedy trial after sitting in jail 2 years. Then they bring him to court and it's thrown out, or he's charged with a misdemeanor now just to get him to plea. How do you compensate a person for spending 2 years in prison with no charges brought against him?
There's no mechanism that I'm aware of that compensates somebody for that. When they're charged with a crime and they're awaiting trial, to my knowledge, there's no mechanism to do that.
Okay, that's something that needs to be looked at, because there are many men and women sitting in jail with no charges brought against them yet, and they're still waiting to go in front of a judge to see what the charges are going to be. But yet, after 2 years, after 3 years, just a sitting in jail, waiting on a court date.
I thought that they had to bring it within a year.
There should be something. There should be something in place that expedites or speeds along even more than if I'm just sitting in jail waiting for the prosecutor to say, okay, bring this one up. He's been sitting there long enough. Let's see if he's ready to plead out.
Yes, sir.
Or something crazy like that.
Yes, sir. I understand. Yes.
There isn't something that they can request for it to be thrown out because nobody ever came forth within a year from the DA's office.
Yes, ma'am. There are time periods that have to be brought. If somebody is sitting in jail, under the speedy trial laws, you have an opportunity and you have the right to have a trial.
So can the public defender put in something like that, or they have to pay for an attorney?
The public defender, if he's been assigned, can do that.
Yeah, the public defender could request that it be run out because they didn't bring it to court.
One of the things that we do know that everyone's case can't go to trial.
That's correct.
So what we would like to address is that because that is, say for instance, the DA's office or the public defender's office, or maybe even the judge, staffing, clerks of courts, or whoever needs more resources in order to accommodate, the long wait that people have to go through and sitting in jail. Is that the case? I noticed that Warren right now is in the process of bringing on additional
Assistant district attorney.
assistant district attorneys, to help with this burden that our parish is facing right now with people sitting in jail, just extreme amount of time waiting for a court date.
And you're correct. Mm-hmm. The dockets are very large. Mm-hmm. and backed up because of COVID was another complicating factor. We had large dockets before COVID, but the court shut down, as we all know, during the COVID times. And so now, not only are we getting new cases, but we're having to keep up with the old cases. So it is a matter of resources. It's a matter of how many judges are available, how many court dates are available, how many assistant district attorneys, their caseloads. So better resources, more resources would certainly help.
Absolutely, I wanted to make that point. Thank you so much. We really appreciate that. Is there any more questions or concerns?
Yes, I'm kind of, why, I understand, why would you have an attorney, a paid attorney, and they know that a child's record with a mental problem, got doctor papers and everything, why would they let him plead cop without knowing what he's signing?
Did someone raise the issue of his competency?
Yes,
His ability?
they had paperwork and everything in the physical doctor that they were seeing.
Yeah, normally if that issue is raised about the mental competency of a defendant, then the court normally orders an evaluation, a psychological evaluation to determine whether or not that person is fit to enter a plea or even go to trial. So I don't know if that happened in this case or not, but that's what the customary practice would be.
They didn't order no kind of, we brought this, all the paperwork concerning his disabilities, his medication that he was on. And the paid attorney knowed all about it, and they presented to the judge and stuff, and he still had to end up with 12 years, he got to do 5. And he's in there with mental problem and taking medication right now. So they know about the situation.
I don't know what can be done at this time other than getting back with that attorney and find out what really happened, how it happened. Okay? Thank you.
I don't see anybody from the sheriff department leaving the city PD here.
I'm very happy that you mentioned that, and I want my camera person to take real notice that all of these people receive personal invitations from us, Louisiana United International, to be here, because this is an election. Not only that it was important for them to come and grace us with their presence, like Warren sent someone from his office, which we are so grateful for, that this is an election year. They need to be in this room right now. They need to be hearing some of these concerns and issues that the people voices that we're talking about. It's so important to us that our leaders that are either seeking re-election or in some type of office or form another, they need to be here. They need to hear from the people. They need to know what our concerns are. If they're running for office, if they want leadership positions, it's more important for them to be here in this room with us today and hearing what the people have to say, hearing what we are concerned about. And I'm pretty sure that you're going to take some of these concerns back to Warren and to the office and, you know, maybe come up with some other community, events that we can address these concerns. You know, we don't want to be ignored as people. We want our voices heard and our concerns and our issues dealt with, especially when we know that we have great leaders like Warren Montgomery. That he's doing everything he can to make sure that he keeps our community safe for us. So that is so important to us. Now, I want everybody to take notice to who's here and who's not here. That's a problem. That is a serious problem. Because what that's telling me is that we got to do better. We have to do better as a people. We have to hold our leaders accountable and make them responsible for what it is that we need to make the community better for all people. That's so important to us right now.
Yeah, because I have people asking me about the police department, talking about how they get harassed by the city PD and the sheriff, but they won't show up at the meetings. When I say, well, you gotta come to the meetings, go to City Hall. I mean, mean, I can't do this by myself. You have to help me with this. So what I'm supposed to do when they say that, other than to say go to City Hall?
Absolutely. You know, I appreciate you saying that, Ms. Faye. But, you know, what it is that a lot of times people don't want to do anything until something happens.
Yes.
And that's wrong, because right now we're being graced with the presence of our leaders here. They're coming out, you know, and I'm going to talk bad about the ones that's not here, because I have a folder of invitations that was sent out to invite them here and bring the community in so that they would have the opportunity to address our community and our concerns. So that's not good. It's not good when people want things to get better, but they're not putting forth any effort to help that situation. That's not good. So we're here today, and we have a spread of food, you know, that we were bringing people in because they said if you feed people, they'll come. But we got food that we're going to take home with us. And I'm going to continue to talk about these concerns because until we actually realize that we're going to take all of us working together to make this better, it's not going to be better. And we have addressed some very serious concerns here today. And I'm pretty sure, excuse me, that our parish president is going to take his time to vet some of those concerns and address some of those concerns. And I really appreciate everybody that took the time out of their busy schedules to come into this room with us today, because it shows me that you're here because you want to make things better. You are concerned about how do we fix our community and address the issues that we are concerned about. So whether or not they was able to answer all of our concerns or not, that's okay. But he heard them. He's here, and he heard them. And that's what's important to me. Okay? So on that note, moving right to our agenda, I know that your time is limited. I want to know, is there any more questions for the DA's office?
Hi, look, we were dealing with mental and emotional abuse of a child. I was told that that's not really a crime. It's something that has to be litigated down the road. When there was evidence of maybe some improper acts with him, now has caused them to act in rage. All the stuff showing that it's mentally affecting him. But the people who've done it, there's no charges. We're just going on as life is normal. And then I got to deal with a child that has mental problems and suffering with mental stuff, but there's no help. And I'm saying, I mean, as a father, who else supposed to talk to make these aware, and they would do something about it?
Yeah, you're talking about, are they criminal?
Mental, emotional abuse, hitting, touching. I mean, I'm saying, is mental abuse of a child a crime in Louisiana?
Mental abuse as a crime? Yeah. I'm not aware of that. Okay. But you could bring it to the attention of law enforcement, depending upon what that involved.
Because they're saying that it's not.
Child Protective Services, of course.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, the young man that I have too was abused. Nothing was done for him. The one who went scot-free.
It's causing more
She went scot-free. You know, we took her to court. She went scot-free.
You know, and I'm being,
has a problem.
And you don't want to act out because then I'm a criminal. Somebody done committed a crime on my child. So you're trying to do the process.
Right here.
You know, I have a DCFS case, and my caseworker went and she said a few lies on us and about our kids, and she didn't have no evidence or nothing, and went and adopted our kids out. Is that legal for her to do?
I couldn't comment on your specific case. I don't know enough about it. We'd have to really get involved and see. And if you have any questions, you should probably contact an attorney.
To try to get that straight.
You'd have to contact an attorney. That's a legal matter that has to be dealt with on an individual basis. Okay?
Okay, I think we have one more question. We're gonna take a couple more questions and then we know that you're, okay, great.
It's kind of pertaining to these children that are being loved and cared for and taken care of, and it's not almost our little corner. Anybody can come up and say, well, so-and-so's done this, and they think that there's abuse in the home. Okay, I was investigated for 5 months, which is well past the 45-day mark. The investigators all wanted to close my case because it was invalid. I had a home development worker who was on an authority power trip and decided that she was going to close my house, knowing that they were going to take these babies that I was in adoption with, which had already been approved, and take them from us. They didn't give us any warning. Their policy is you're supposed to give the foster parents a certain amount of time to know what's going on through transition, if that's what they're trying to do. They didn't follow policy. They came up and ordered us to take the children to the sheriff's department because they were in imminent danger. The children were in my home for 5 months, under a safety plan, under a lady that came into my home for 6 weeks, told them there is nothing wrong with this lady's home. These children are happy, loved, and thriving. This worker did not want to hear it. Her whole agenda was to shut my house down. They overloaded my home with 11 children that me and my husband took care of for 2 solid months. We took care of 11 children. And then she decided, I guess maybe I'm speculating she got in trouble for it because it's illegal to have more than 6 children, only 8 in case of an emergency, from a judge. Are you allowed to have that many children in your home? I raised these babies through drug addiction. I helped them pass all their milestones. These babies were happy and loved, and we want them. We wanted to adopt them. We had to fight to get my little boy back. The judge in the parish where we're at gave us a little boy and said that day that he would have sent her home had he had jurisdiction. That's where the corruption came in. And they have gotten away with it so far, but it's not going to stop because I'm not going to quit. I love my children, and that something's got to be done about these workers that are able to lie and falsify documents, tell judges what they're allowed and not allowed to do. I passed background checks. My husband passed his background checks. We lived a happy life. I have thousands of pictures from the time these babies were put in my home at 2 and 4 days old. There was no reason whatsoever for them children to be removed, and I have fought for 1 year and 2 months.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, all right, we can.
Thank you.
I know she had to get that out.
Yeah.
So we want to appreciate the DA's office from coming in and having the opportunity to hear us out. Just, you know, she had to share that.
Yes,
that was
ma'am.
very important to her to be able to share
understand.
that.
I understand.
So we can take those things into consideration when we talk about, you know, how we want to handle these type of cases.
Right.
That's so important.
It is.
That people are suffering.
Get the chance to speak their mind. Yeah.
So thanks again for coming. I
Thank
appreciate
you.
coming.
So nice to meet you.
And all right, I'll let one of them.
Appreciate that. All right.
Can I ask one more question?
Oh, she got
Just one more question, and then I want to know if it's like falsely convictions. How do I move if the courts is involved in falsely conviction? How do I transfer to where it would be a legal, a trial, a legal trial, not a trial where my brother got cancer. He's dying of cancer. When the doctor told him he had 9 months to live, the DA district attorney came in court and said, why is he not dead yet? He's not getting out. He should, they making a mockery out of this. The evidence proved he was innocent man. An innocent man. He did 5.5 years in jail without seeing the face of an attorney. He was appointed an attorney. The attorney was right across the street, not once walked to talk and get a statement from my brother. How can I have his trial transfer to a place where he will be, because the appellate court want another trial. They vacated his sentence because they sentenced him wrong to begin. So they vacated his sentence, and the evidence proved he was an innocent man. And the DA, I don't know what he's got, I don't know what's the deal, scan, I don't know, but he's the only one that makes the decision. The judge don't even make decisions. Whatever this district attorney says, that's what they do.
We're not talking about Mr. Montgomery's office.
No.
It's a different office.
Yes.
Is he going to have a new trial? Is that what you're saying?
He's been in court, he's been in jail over there in Livingston over 2 years, never got a trial yet. The circuit court wanted him, said he is entitled to another trial because they sentenced him wrong, and
his conviction was overturned, that's what you're trying to say?
Yes, ma'am, vacated.
So what you're
It
trying
was
to
all
say, how did you
vacated.
get him back to trial?
Yes.
If they're not bringing him back?
They're not bringing him back to trial. We've been trying for over 2 years now, and they still don't want to bring him to trial. They're trying to get him to die in jail. They're trying to kill my brother. They're trying to kill my brother because they don't want the truth to come out. I have enough evidence in my files that proves my brother is innocent. They denied all my brother's rights, all his witnesses, subpoena witnesses. The attorney had me go and get statements. I paid for state certified statements, and when it went down to trial, they only chose me to be a witness with my brother. Only me, and he had his boss and 5 other people. They denied him all his rights from the beginning. And
So they wouldn't let
it
the
was
other
my
witnesses, you're
grandson.
saying the other witnesses did not come?
Yes, they was there.
Okay.
Oh, they came to court and denied them right in front. And his trial, they only put me on the stand. And I need to find a way to move him to where he has a fair trial. Because where he's at, they're not gonna do it. They're trying to have my brother die in jail so the truth don't come out of what they're doing. They're putting innocent people in jail.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
All right. You had to get that out, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have any response for her, DA?
No, ma'am, not any more than what we talked about. I hear you. I hear you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All righty, thank you so much. Thank